Go ahead.
Madam Speaker, I rise today as an extremely proud Dominican who feels honored and privileged to be sitting on this side of the House, serving under the direction of a phenomenal leader, Dr. the Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, my Prime Minister, Dominica's Prime Minister and Minister for Finance. Indeed, Madam Speaker, I rise to lend my full and unwavering support to a progressive budget that presents a bold new plan that will continue the transformation of this local economy and put us on a better footing to be more competitive, all to realize the goal of this Dominica Labour Party government, which is a better standard of living for all, a better life for every Dominican. Madam Speaker, on July 27, 2017, Dominicans at home and abroad listened with great interest to and expectation to that historic budget address by the Honourable Prime Minister, as he delivered with his usual eloquence and flair a budget that could only be described as another smasher. Another masterpiece, Madam Speaker, created by the Finance Minister to take our beautiful island to another level, building on the successes and accomplishments of previous years to the benefit of all. Madam Speaker, I described the last budget as one filled with hope, a visionary plan once implemented that would benefit all of us. And I did so, Madam Speaker, as I saw the start of a new era. But today, Madam Speaker, with this new budget and a review of our past accomplishments, particularly over the last few years, that hope has turned to excitement. Excitement as I see unfolding right before my eyes a bold development plan of this Dominica Labour Party to modernize our beautiful island and continue to forge ahead to making Dominica better for all of us. Madam Speaker, I need to make an appointment to come in your chambers. I really need to familiarize myself with the standing orders of this House. There has to be some standing order to allow the opposition members to sit there after they gongade me, to sit and listen to me when I speak. You notice every time I speak, they're running out? Let them come back inside. I have to come and talk to you to find out whether there's a standing order to make them sit down. Have the Sergeant of Arms put them to sit down. Let them listen to what I have to say, Madam Speaker. It is not right. Madam Speaker, if for some reason I am not in the House, my phone is on listening to what they have to say. They need to sit and listen to me when I say to them, put the right wrong. Let him get up and go if he wants to get up and go, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I say to you that we are well on our way. And I say to you today, but Madam Speaker, let's be honest. Did we expect a different reaction? I certainly did not. Madam Speaker, I'm moving right along to my presentation, if that's okay. Madam Speaker, I say to you that we are well on our way. I say to you today that we are well on our way to transform this economy to realize a significant improvement in the standard of living of all Dominicans. And I say this against my backdrop of extensive experience of monitoring Caribbean economies. And Madam Speaker, the financial year 2017-18 budget address, after I heard it, I started to wonder, could the parliamentary opposition really counter such a well-crafted budget, articulating our bold move to success? And you know, I like to explain. By success, I mean additional facilities to finance the growth and expansion of yet another productive sector. A more strategic approach to our human resource development in line with national priorities. Investment in our people, Madam Speaker, especially our youth. Welcome back, gentlemen. I was missing you both. Sit down. Our focus on the health of our people, recognizing that the health of a nation is the wealth of a nation. This is what I refer to as the successes of the budget. So, Madam Speaker, I asked myself, could anyone really challenge this budget? And if so, on what grounds? After all, Madam Speaker, a budget rebuttal ought to present an alternative, a better way to achieve the same economic success which will translate into the improvement in the lives of citizens. So, Madam Speaker, I eagerly awaited the rebuttal by the parliamentary opposition. Madam Speaker, if you saw me on Friday, shoulders upright and pen in hand, I ready to listen. But, Madam Speaker, alas, all I heard was the same old rhetoric. And I must say further, little to do with the budget presented the day before, Madam Speaker. I actually thought it was a tad amusing. Following the second consecutive budget of this government, totally outside the box, making it practically impossible to challenge, the leader of the parliamentary opposition decided instead to present to us his manifesto. Yes. Madam Speaker, isn't that laughable? And to make matters worse, Madam Speaker, I am reliably informed that what we heard on July 28th was a repeat performance from the Honourable Member for the Marigot constituency at the Arawak House of Culture on July 22, 2014 at 8 p.m. Madam Speaker, the last time I checked, the Arawak House of Culture, I started writing on Sunday morning at 9:30 in my office, just for your information. Madam Speaker, the last time I checked, the Arawak House of Culture was our premier location for the performance of the best plays in Dominica. Are we now bringing performances to this honorable house? Madam Speaker, I sure hope not. Madam Speaker, I guess in the minds of the opposition, this was just another election budget. I recall last year that's how it was described. And this year, the critics of the government are again saying this is another election budget. But, Madam Speaker, that election taking long to call. I don't understand what's going on. Madam Speaker, these jokes are killing me in this house. Madam Speaker, permit me to speak directly to the rebuttal, if I can call it that, of the leader of the opposition. Madam Speaker, much to my alarm, the leader of the parliamentary opposition started by declaring in his first few minutes that, and I quote, that we had and I quote, a record of consistently achieving the worst economic performance results in the currency union. That's a little mouthful. I don't know who wrote that sentence. But what he's trying to say, Madam Speaker, is that what we do, our economic performance is not as good as anybody else in the currency union. And you know what I thought to myself? A joke that? The opposition leader, Madam Speaker, campaigned on a platform of economic mismanagement in 2014. And everybody in this honorable house knows how that ended. And I wish to remind the parliamentary opposition that this claim and notion that this Dominica Labour Party government mismanaged this local economy was decisively, absolutely, completely, and totally rejected by the polls at Madam Speaker in December 14. The honorable member here is looking and smiling because he's aware that the population rejected that notion of the opposition, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, you know how they should have known that? You know how every time in this house they should remember that? Because they're still sitting on the other side, Madam Speaker. They're still in opposition. 17 years and counting, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on reflection, I did not think the message could have been any clearer considering where they're sitting today. But Madam Speaker, just in case, I'll come to you in a while. But Madam Speaker, Is the honourable member for the Rosa Central constituency nervous because I'm unelected and I'm going to put him straight, Madam Speaker? Is that what he's suggesting? That I should not stand here because I'm not elected? Is that what he's suggesting? Madam Speaker, I sure hope not, but I'll come to him a little later in my presentation. Just give me a couple of minutes.
I want you to be.
Madam Speaker, just in case it was somehow lost on them, I personally, as a new member of this House, during the debate on the overdraft for the fiscal year 2015-2016 debate, I took great pains to present economic statistics from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank to prove and to demonstrate to this House and to the listening public that our local economy was in fact doing better than our neighboring countries. And I am advised, Madam Speaker, that the clip of that contribution was on the radio for more than 2 weeks. Yes. Could they have forgotten again, Madam Speaker? Masako Ponsa. Also, as recently as last week, the Honourable Prime Minister's budget address clearly stated that the Dominican economy had in fact expanded at a faster rate than the regional Eastern Caribbean Currency Union economy. I truly believe then, Madam Speaker, that this Labour Party administration had finally laid to rest that claim of a mismanaged economy. But unfortunately, there it was again in the rebuttal of the honourable member for the Marigot constituency. So, Madam Speaker, I hope that I can finally dispel this incorrect, inaccurate, and misleading, silly notion that this is a mismanaged economy. And to do so, Madam Speaker, I'm not going to bore you with the data from 2015. I'm going to refer to statistics on the website of the Central Bank, which has been cited by the parliamentary opposition in the past. And Madam Speaker, when you look at the GDP estimates for 2016, the growth rate on the website for Dominica is 2.8%, Madam Speaker. The regional economy, the currency union as a whole, all of the 8 member countries, as a whole, they grew by 2.6%. Madam Speaker, only 3 economies grew faster than the region, and this country was one of them, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, 5 economies grew slower than the average, and 1 was not Dominica. So, Madam Speaker, I say to you, relative to our neighbors, we are doing well, based on the statistics of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Madam Speaker. And this isn't what Miriam Blanchard is saying. This is what the statistics is saying to us. I say to you, honourable member for the Rosa Central constituency, don't shoot the messenger. Madam Speaker, also on the website is the medium-term growth forecast for the currency union. Based on that data, our local economy is expected to grow on average by 3.1% between 2017 and 2018. And Madam Speaker, you're probably wondering, how does that compare with the currency union? Based on the projections that I saw, we are expected to grow at the same rate as the currency union. Again, Madam Speaker, our economic performance is expected to outpace, that's using my economic lingo, our economic performance in 17 and 18 is expected to be better again than some of our member countries in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. And again, I say, don't shoot the messenger.
That's right.
Madam Speaker, before moving off the economy, I would like to submit some additional statistics to disprove the gloom and doom painted by the honourable member for the Marigot constituency in order to gain cheap political points. Yeah. 1, the money supply, M2. You say you're an economist, you know what M2 is. Money circulating in the economy. At the end of May 2017, M2 was $1.4 billion, Madam Speaker, in Dominica. And you know what it was at the end of January 2000? 519 million. Honourable member, that was for you. We're comparing the 1.4 billion at the end of May 17 to the end of January 2000, 519 million.
Yes, sir.
Posa.
Collapse economy.
Madam Speaker, money in circulation increased by 15% over the past 3 years in Dominica, the highest growth for that period recorded in the currency union. Deposits held by the private sector, another indicator of economic activity, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, over the past 3 years, deposits in the banking system belonging to the private businesses rose by 41.2% to $257 million. Yes. Madam Speaker, do these people think we do not read? Madam Speaker, I've sat on the other side of the House and listened to lecture after lecture, people reading all kind of books from me that they read somewhere else. We went to school too over here. So when you stop then, Madam Speaker, I heard the Honourable Member today question statistics presented in the Honourable Prime Minister's budget address. The statistics he wanted to present today spoke to the stock of debt. Madam Speaker, as an economist myself, I am saying to you that the debt statistic that is usually used as a gauge of what's going on in the country is your debt to GDP ratio.
That's right.
Madam Speaker,
right.
I went back to the archives. There's a DA Vibes article that's quoting the current central bank governor, Timothy Antoine, when he addressed the DAIC annual general meeting on the 20th of July 2017. And this is what he said. He said that Dominica, this country's debt to GDP ratio, is now the lowest in the currency union
right.
at 67.2%. Madam Speaker,
Take notes.
Madam Speaker, 67.6% compared to an average of 72.5%. But these people on the other side of the House prefer to look for statistics that would paint their own country that they claim to love in a bad light. All of the positive indicators they will pretend not to see, but we get into some more of them, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, one of the reasons that we've been able to do this, this Dominica Labour Party government has been able to reduce that debt to GDP ratio is because unlike the time of the UWP government, we are not doing debt financing. The economic citizenship program that this side of the House tried to destroy has helped us to finance our expenditures without accumulating debt, especially considering in your time when it was at commercial rates. Explain that to the Dominican public, my dear.
14%.
Madam Speaker, the subject of the trade deficit is certainly a hot topic. Madam Speaker, to begin with, the trade account of the balance of payments cannot be discussed and reviewed in isolation. I will not go into the technical parts of it, but I'm sure the economists on the other side of the House will explain to you what that means. But let's take it simple. On a simple note, I want to point out to critiques my observation when I was doing research for my contribution. When I looked at the external account of the balance of payments, Madam Speaker, the trade account is part of your balance of payments, your external account. So I looked at the balance of payments because all of this story about our trade deficit so big. Madam Speaker, let me tell you what was interesting. I noted what the other side noted as well, which was that domestic exports had in fact fallen. But Madam Speaker, even more significant in the external account was the increase in tourism earnings. Madam Speaker, in case they don't know, let the economists tell them that tourism is an export. We are exporting tourism services to the rest of the world. And let me share with you the data that I have, Madam Speaker, again from the website of the Central Bank. In 1995, domestic exports was $117.5 million. And how much was tourism earnings? 135.7. So even then, we saw that tourism earnings was higher. In 2000, domestic exports 137.5, tourism earnings 152.1. Madam Speaker, let's move fast. In 2016, according to the balance of payments table on the website, tourism earnings in this country was $634.95 million. What is the big fuss about domestic exports? Right. We have another source of income of earning foreign exchange, and based on the statistics in the external account, we are doing extremely well. Yeah. We need to stop.
Yes,
Madam Speaker, it's time we remove politics from economics. I recall one day on my way to St. Kitts, I was going to St. Kitts to work. Everybody knew that I worked in the region. My flight from Barbados was there. They did a RAM transfer. I got on the flight. Everybody was sitting on the plane ready to go. The only seat was next to the current leader of the parliamentary opposition, my old friend, you know, from then. Anyway, we start to talk. Oh, this and that. I said, listen, I'm a macroeconomist by training. I speak about numbers. That's right. Or what we call in economics anecdotal evidence. Pani dimwe, oh, things are bad, this happened. I said, no, let's look at the numbers. This is how I roll, Madam Speaker. I'm an economist. I spent many years trying to fine-tune my profession. This is what the numbers are saying. We cannot take numbers in isolation and keep misleading the people of this country. It is not right. Madam Speaker, I have heard the suggestion, and that was last night, and I heard it again from the honourable member for the Rosa Central constituency, claiming it was Economics 101. Madam Speaker, allow me to educate you on Economics 101 Part 2. Yeah. Madam Speaker, he's claiming that the strong growth in this economy was only because we were in a rehabilitation mode. Let me make this clear once and for all, Madam Speaker. He's right. We are in rehabilitation mode. But how was this growth financed? This growth was not financed from debt. This growth was financed from own funds pillar, from own funds, as we say in economics, from revenue generated from the Citizenship by Economics investment program. Yes. So, Madam Speaker, what does that mean? That means had we not, Honourable Member, you're disturbing me. So, Madam Speaker, I want through you to say to him that because the funds were available to finance the reconstruction, if we did not have to undertake reconstruction, this forward-thinking government would have used those same resources to build a more robust infrastructure to facilitate our development. So don't come with this foolish story about Economics 101. Take your time and do your research, Honourable Member. So, Madam Speaker, the data, Madam Speaker, I am sure all of us in this Honourable House today, including our dear police officers, we all agree one thing, that the the data that I just spoke about paints a completely different picture than what we heard from the other side of the House. And Madam Speaker, it wasn't my data. It wasn't my data. Madam Speaker, like I said, it is high time we remove politics from economics. This is our island to build. And opposing for the sake of opposing is not constructive behavior. Shame on those economists on the other side of the House who refuse to make those same points and bring those same numbers to the attention of your honorable leader. Shame on you. Madam Speaker, I sure hope now that I have buried this notion of economic mismanagement, and they were distracted, so I'm going to say it again. Madam Speaker, I sure hope now that I have successfully buried the notion of economic mismanagement of this country. And I say, and it was about time. Yes. Madam Speaker, I want to take a few minutes to point out something in this House. This House is about serious business. The business of the people who elected the parliamentary representatives on both sides of the House. And I think it is important that we keep this in mind and keep our contributions real. Yep. I submit to you, Madam Speaker, that these generalizations, innuendos, and suggestions that I keep hearing from the other side of the House are not for this chamber. If we are to engage in constructive and productive discussions, we need to put in the time to do our research and ensure the validity of the points that we are going to make instead of these absurd declarations. I say that these fanciful statements, devoid of fact, should not be repeated in this honorable House, as it only serves to mislead the very people we are here to represent, Madam Speaker. And here I'm referring to statements like, quote, the economy is on remote control. Another one, the Dominican economy following years of neglect by the Roosevelt-Kerry-led administration. Madam Speaker, as we've heard in the few minutes I've been standing here, there's absolutely no basis in fact for these statements. And I hope finally that this nonsensical notion will be put to rest. Yes. Madam Speaker, I was intrigued once more when I heard the contribution for the honorable member for the Marigot constituency. Another laundry list of items that should have been included in the budget. As is now customary for that honorable member, he merely lists those in his usual casual manner. And I say to this honorable House, this is not how a budget is prepared. And I share my humble opinion, Madam Speaker, as an economist charged with the responsibility of working on macroeconomic frameworks for more than a decade in this region. So, Madam Speaker, I challenge the leader of the opposition to state, one, how would the many initiatives that he bravely articulates be financed and implemented considering his first budget rebuttal, which centered around the need to reduce debt levels, which we have, the need to not introduce new taxes. Madam Speaker, we heard in the budget address, come January, people are going to be paying less taxes, as well against the backdrop that he says we're not able to attract many grants as we did before. Recall, Madam Speaker, when you're looking at the budget, if you want to add more on one line, the same amount must come out from another line. Otherwise, you will not balance and have the same overall position. And that is basic maths, right, Honorable Member for the Roseau Central Constituency? Madam Speaker, I say to you that budgets are about numbers. And the members on the other side of the House are well aware of this. Yet they come in here with their fanciful speeches seeking to reintroduce the rest of us to the basics of our economic days or our university days when we get in lectures. This new economics that I'm being exposed to in this parliament, with persons speaking from the top of their head, saying all what they want and no indication on how it's going to be financed, how it's going to be financed. I say to you that that is absolutely ridiculous for 2017. Madam Speaker, the leader of the parliamentary opposition should not be allowed to engage or pretend to present a budget rebuttal with absolutely no numbers. That is not acceptable in my opinion. This is tantamount to cheating. And Madam Speaker, before they go and misquote me, I said tantamount to cheating because a budget is about numbers. You know, people take your words and twist it. And make sure I explain it myself well. There was no clear indication from him of exactly what is being proposed and how his initiatives that he's proposing would affect the macroeconomic framework on which the budget was crafted. I dare say to the honorable member that he should state clearly to the Dominican public whether we should suspend, our new favorite word, plans to increase the allocations for pharmaceuticals to assist our growing number of cancer patients. Or maybe he's suggesting that we reduce the number of students who receive financial assistance at all levels. Or perhaps he's thinking, Madam Speaker, that we should remove the higher allocation for road maintenance, or maybe the additional funds allocated for tourism promotion, or reduce the credit facility to expand and support the manufacturing sector? Or could he be implying, Madam Speaker, that we should cut back on the NEP and social programs? He needs to be more specific and stop speaking in a vacuum, I say, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, all of the new initiatives carefully crafted and presented in this year's budget to transform our economy and the lives of Dominicans will be in large part thanks to the success of Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program. I have one for you, you better come back. Through great effort and personal commitment of the Finance Minister and member for the Vacas constituency, Dominica's Citizenship by Investment program is ranked at the very top of the industry. And before I go further, Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Honourable Prime Minister as a citizen of this country for his amazing strength, foresight, and wisdom that has brought us to this point, Madam Speaker. The top of the CBI program, thus allowing this Dominica Labour Party government to build a beautiful country while looking after the vulnerable in our society. Madam Speaker, I say to you today that it is because of the CBI program, the success of the CBI program, that for the first time in the history of Dominica, we are truly independent. And I say so because this is the first time under this Dominica Labour Party administration, under the direction of a visionary leader, Dr. the Honourable Roosevelt Skerrit, that we can boast of our ability to raise sufficient funds to finance the operations of this country. Madam Speaker, one would have thought that this was a reason to celebrate as a country. Instead, I hear some in this chamber lament that the proceeds from the CBI program was going to fund more than 60% of the capital budget. I tell you, it's only jokes I hear, in this House, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, are these people for real? Would they prefer that we went back to the days of the UWP government and instead borrowed on commercial terms to fund our capital program? We need to get real again, I say to us. It is time to remove politics from economics. Madam Speaker, we are well aware as a government of the fragility and how fragile that CBI program is. And as such, this forward-thinking, proactive government has been very strategic in the spending of those funds. You may recall, Madam Speaker, that the central bank governor in January during his visit to Dominica publicly endorsed the government's use of the CBI funds to finance major capital works. In a nutshell, Madam Speaker, this is how the CBI is being used to stimulate economic activity and allow us to meet our development goals. The funds are being used to support real economic growth through expansion in all the productive sectors of the economy. We are building a resilient network of roads and bridges that can withstand the effects of increasingly severe weather conditions while facilitating the expansion in our productive sectors, reflecting our firm belief that our people are our most important resource. The CBI funds are being used to educate the youth and make our labor force more productive so that we can reap the sweet fruits of education for many years to come. CBI funds are also being used to provide assistance to the small business sector, to create an entrepreneurial spirit or culture among our young people. Lastly, but certainly not least, this caring government is also allocating funds to care for the elderly and the indigent in our society to ensure that everyone benefits. And you know what was amusing too, Madam Speaker? after the relatively failed attempts of the leader of the parliamentary opposition to derail the development agenda by his calculated and callous remarks on the 60 Minutes program, he's now trying to claim responsibility for the success of this Dominica Labour Party's new focus of the CBI. Did you hear what the parliamentary opposition leader said in his thing? He claimed, and I quote, "The so-called real estate option of the CBI is the Greystone Lyre River model introduced under the Dominica Freedom Party, and the cash option under which revenues for the sale of passports come into the Treasury is the re-engineered economic citizenship model introduced by the United Workers' Party," end quote. Madam Speaker, he goes on to claim, I quote, "There has been no innovation," end quote. Madam Speaker, I think the honourable member was clearly trying to entertain us, and I say to him, mission accomplished. Madam Speaker, I say to the honourable member that he should back up his claim and place on record the number of five-star hotels that were negotiated or built during the UWP government's reign. Until such time, Madam Speaker, I humbly suggest that he removes this line from his presentation. My dear Parrep will take the message to him, I hope. What I challenge the honourable member to do, after his own admittance of a sterling contribution made by the proceeds of the CBI program, is to issue a public apology to the people of Dominica for his reckless, careless, and irresponsible words aired on the 60-minute program, Madam Speaker, which placed, and I say so because those words of his were placed in the context of a story that could only serve to hurt a program which has brought us much success and prosperity. Madam Speaker, I eagerly await that apology. I urge the honourable member to take his role a little more seriously. This is the same country he hopes to lead one day, God forbid. How then, after he destroys it, will he be able to do anything with it? These questions need to be answered, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me now to move quickly to switch my contribution to the allocation to the Ministry of Public Works and Ports, my current portfolio. In fiscal year 2017-18, $130 million is allocated to the public sector investment program for my ministry. And I say to you that this is further proof of the strategic manner in which this Labour Party government is going about implementing its development program. No government can truly pursue its development objectives while ignoring the need to prioritize the development of a resilient network of roads and bridges. Madam Speaker, once again, this government is well on its way to achieving its objectives. One would note that unlike budgets in the past, the majority of the funds to finance this capital program is coming from the Citizenship by Investment program. So I say to you, there is nothing standing in our way. I say to you that one way to foster economic growth is through the accelerated implementation of a country's PSIP, Public Sector Investment Program. Having already established the greatest responsibility that rests with the Ministry of Public Works and Ports, which I am honored to lead, permit me to spend just a few minutes explaining the correlation between expenditure on the physical infrastructure and economic growth. I took a trial lecture, or you will lecture too. The role of infrastructure in economic development is well chronicled. We can all relate to the importance of transportation, roads, bridges, air and seaports, water, communication in our daily lives, and how access to them can enhance our standard of living. In the case of the economy, improvements in the road network or seaports, for example, will go a long way in enhancing productivity and, by extension, competitiveness, allowing businesses to be more profitable and ultimately contribute more to the economy. In addition, there are many examples in the literature that show that investment in a country's physical infrastructure increases its ability to attract foreign direct investment. As a result, this Labour Party government continues to place emphasis on the development of our infrastructure as we seek to reduce poverty and improve the standard of living of citizens. And a member on the other side of the House made that same point. But I know he's heard me say it 50 times before, so I just say to him, I'm glad he's on board with it as well. Madam Speaker, cognizant of all of this, this Labour government, in its usual methodical and strategic manner, will continue to prioritize the development of a resilient network of roads and bridges across the entire island. Allow me now to present some of our flagship projects presented in the fiscal year 2017-18 budget. Madam Speaker, I'm sure it comes as no surprise to anybody in this Honourable House that the first flagship project that I will discuss today is this Labour Party government's Roseau Enhancement Project. This project was presented to the people of Dominica in 2014, and what it was our plan to modernize the city of Roseau and the town of Portsmouth. This major project, which has now moved from the first phase with the construction and commissioning of the new state-of-the-art West Bridge, provides just a glimpse, Madam Speaker, of what our new Roseau will look like. Believe me when I say to you, Madam Speaker, that our drive to transform the city of Roseau has just begun. Serious about the development of this country, we recognize the need to improve its appearance of the capital city as a means of attracting foreign direct investment, and to assist us in our efforts to increase what we call the conversion factor, which is really enticing cruise ship visitors to return as long stay or stay over visitors, Madam Speaker. So I note the comments on this by the Senator Baptiste, which I'm sure, like I said, he's heard me say many times. You've heard me say so many times, so at least we agree on something. Madam Speaker, we heard in the budget address that the construction of the river walls from the EC Low Black Bridge to the market is scheduled for this financial year. Additional dredging of the Roseau River will also be done to prevent or mitigate flooding. And an allocation of $4.1 million is budgeting for those two aspects of that project. In fact, Madam Speaker, the first section from the new West Bridge towards the EC Low Black Bridge will begin in August. And why are we doing this, Madam Speaker? We are doing it to protect the residents and businesses on that side of the river, as well as to improve the aesthetic appeal of that area as we modernize our city of Roseau. But Madam Speaker, I don't recall hearing the parliamentary representative for the Roseau Central constituency speak to that project, a project that is going to benefit his constituency. Maybe he missed it, Madam Speaker. Also in the new financial year is the rehabilitation of 3 major streets: Independence Street, King George V Street, Great George Street, and part of River Street in the city of Roseau. Welcome back, Honourable Member. I wanted you to hear this part of my presentation. You referred to, in your contribution, you made the point that the $1 million allocated for urban renewal was not sufficient. And I say to you, through Madam Speaker, that you should probably have spent a little more time going through the budget estimates. Had you done so, you would have realized that an $8.2 million allocation was made for that project under the Ministry of Public Works and Ports. I've never seen that expression from him. I don't know about you all. Anyway, Madam Speaker, I think I've spoken so much about that, Mr. Speaker, about that project. I don't think I need to go into any more. Suffice to say that we are now soliciting feedback from stakeholders based on the designs that we currently have for that project. Madam Speaker, I want to take the opportunity to also respond to Senator Baptiste, who stated, Mr. Speaker, forgive me, I always get confused. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I want to respond to the senator who stated yesterday that 3 streets per year in his mind were not acceptable, and acceptable is clearly my terminology. As he said, it would take 15 years to complete the entire city of Roseau. You see why I wanted you to sit there? Even if I was not in the House, I listened to your presentation. I listened to your presentation, even if I was not in this House. Madam Speaker, I say to the Honourable Mr. Speaker, to the Honourable members through you, that as one of the economists in the House, I want you to make your recommendation count. But in order to do so, you need to put numbers to that recommendation to see how it fits back in the framework. And like I said before, if we were to start additional streets, how is it going to be financed? What are you suggesting we delay? Do we delay the facility to the manufacturing sector? What is it that we are going to delay? This is a budget discussion. We are not discussing a manifesto in a political arena. We are discussing a budget, and a budget is about numbers, I say to you. But, Mr. Speaker, be assured that this Labour government is going to remain focused on the task at hand and will not be distracted, Mr. Speaker. As stated by the Honourable Prime Minister, this government remains committed to improving the road network in the east-southeast of the island. Also, we heard a lot during the Prime Minister's speech of the Lubia to Bacatel project, which is going to be financed through grant funding and the generosity of the government of the United Kingdom. That project, we got details in the budget speech, started in April of this year with the signing of a contract to begin a feasibility study, as well as that will lead then to designs of various interventions along that road. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I want to also thank the residents of those who came to the town hall meetings. During a Labour Party town hall meeting in March in Pishley, I said to residents that as the Minister for Public Works and Ports, one of the things that I've realized is the importance of getting feedback from people, from the main stakeholders. And I want to report here today that all of our town hall meetings were well attended, and I want to thank all of those who attended for sharing their experiences with us and with the consultants working on that project. Madam Speaker, in the east of the island, work is going to continue. In fact, we expect to accelerate work, ending the project called the B envelope by the end of the year. In the Layu area, the reconstruction of the York Valley Bridge is nearing completion. This project, a gift from the government of the People's Republic of China. And I would like to place on public record once more my sincere appreciation and that of the government and people of Dominica for this kind of gift. The project will be completed by year end. The technical staff of the ministry has just approved the designs submitted by a consultant for the rehabilitation of road, including river defenses from the Hillsborough Bridge to the York Valley Bridge. Designs for the section of road from the York Valley Bridge to Port Cassay is going to begin shortly. Also in that area, a contract valued at $5.8 million was recently signed to rehabilitate the E.O. LeBlanc Highway and construct river defenses west of the Hillsborough Bridge located on the north bank of the Layu River. With respect to the Layu Emergency Shelter Resource Center, I expect that that contract will be awarded this month in August, and work should begin shortly. Madam Speaker, to avert a collapse of a section of road on the Gillett-Penville Road, work on a retaining wall commenced during the last financial year, and that work is expected to continue, and an allocation of $2 million was made for this. Madam Speaker, the parliamentary representative for the Margot constituency spoke of a dam bridge. I do not know the location of any dam bridge, but that's what he said, you wanted him. And I have to... Madam Speaker, because I expected them to pretend like I'm being unparliamentary, I went through great pains yesterday to get a copy of his speech to make sure that he didn't just say dam, it was really in the printed text. Madam Speaker, it's a dam bridge, he said in the text.
There is an area called dam.
I don't know.
It just doesn't have an N.
Well, all I know, Madam Speaker, all I can say is I don't know about any dam bridge. I don't know where no dam bridge located. I will, however, say to the member, that a contract was signed in the amount of $820,000 for the rehabilitation of a bridge crossing at Mango Hole in Margot. That's a bridge I know about. I am advised that work on that bridge will start this month. To address the wave overtopping challenge, an allocation of $8 million was made in the budget. And Madam Speaker, the plan was to speak this afternoon, but for some reason I stood up early. The plan was to have in my hand a copy of the tender document for that project to say to the honourable member for the Margot constituency and those people in the neighbouring communities who are affected by the wave overtopping challenge that we are serious about addressing it. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on this note, I want to thank those affected for their patience and understanding as we work towards implementing this project. To support the initiatives of the government to boost output in the agricultural sector, unlike what we've heard, you know, Madam Speaker, I forgot that one, you know. I forgot to point out that even if people saying on the other side of the House, the members rather on the other side of the House, claiming that we've ignored agriculture, the same statistics from the central bank showing strong growth in agriculture, eh? Yes. People need to start calling and speaking the truth. So I explained that, you were not listening then. Madam Speaker, our focus to introduce to develop the infrastructure for agriculture in this ministry is in the form of the rehabilitation of farm access roads, and an allocation of $4 million under the BAM Feeder Road project has been made. Also, Madam Speaker, we have another $2.8 million for the Cowham Feeder Road, which I'm sure farmers of St. Joseph, Mero, Layu, and neighboring communities are pleased about their progress, I'm told. And in addition, we have $500,000 to rehabilitate approximately 40 meters of the $500,000, for a section of the Makaton and Mopo feeder roads, Madam Speaker. That contract was signed recently. Madam Speaker, quickly through the Roseau Valley, we recognize its importance to the economic sustainability of this island as a nucleus of the tourism product. And because of this, understanding is your bread and butter, Dr. McIntyre. As a result, we're going to forge ahead with the development of a modern network of roads and bridges for you to ensure the safety of your people as well as to protect their livelihoods. And because of that, you can see it in the budget. Emergency works at Cabanis, we have $1.1 million. I saw some lovely pictures on Sunday showing how the residents of that area are beautifying the area. Congratulations to the honourable member. Madam Speaker, an allocation of $3.75 million made for the retaining walls in Cabanis. Coptal Watson Waven Road rehab, an additional $2 million. Also, the continuation of the Watson Waven Road rehab that we started under the last financial year. One phase had not begun, so that amount of $0.8 million is still available. Cochrane Road, $5.1 million. And the project at Providence in Loda, we signed a contract a couple of weeks ago for $1.6 million, and work is progressing, Madam Speaker. On the outskirts of the city, allocations were made for the following projects. Pafferset Emsall Bridge, $3.6 million. The Ophelia Reconstruction Rehabilitation, as presented in the budget, is really a section of road from the foot of the back road in Goodwill Back Road in Bath Estate up towards the Silver Lake area, which was affected by Tropical Storm Ophelia. Madam Speaker, it took us a long time. I think it took us too long, but I am happy to report that that project finally went out to tender after just receiving it from the consultants. And I expect that responses are going to be in by August 28th, and work will begin soon thereafter once we meet all of the requirements stipulated by the Caribbean Development Bank, because this project will be loan financed. Meanwhile, Madam Speaker,
You have 5 minutes left.
Speaker, I move that the Honourable Minister... Madam Speaker, I move that the Honourable Minister for Public Works, Sports and Infrastructure be given an additional 15 minutes to complete her presentation.
Second, Madam Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the Honourable Minister be given a further 15 minutes to complete her contribution. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Continue, please.
thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, after talking about that Ophelia Reconstruction Rehabilitation Project, I want to say to the citizens and residents of that area that we have not forgotten them. And what we are currently doing over the last 2 weeks, we have commenced the dredging and retraining of that Rosa River in that area away from the road edge failure in order to secure that part of the road. Rehabilitation of Emsall Road, 0.7 million. Eggleston Road, 0.5, and Mount Bruce of 500,000. I have been advised this morning before coming here that the tender documents the initial numbers for Mount Bruce designs should be finished, Madam Speaker, by the end of this week. So I'm excited to report that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as we forge ahead in building a new and modern Dominica, our street lighting program will be accelerated with the installation of solar street lights. Madam Speaker, all of those who travel around the country are aware that sections of our road are in fact in need of improved lighting. With the availability of solar street lights, thanks to the government of the People's Republic of China, work will continue in order to ensure the safety and security of our road users. So, Madam Speaker, that was one of the things I expected to get a clap from the Honourable Senator Baptiste. Instead, I hear him knocking down my project. You hear, Ivex? Madam Speaker, this is the same senator who has stood in this house time and time again talking of the importance of tourism. So minus the fact that we're doing it not just for the tourists, but also for the visitors to be safe, he who keeps talking about tourism, knocking something that's going to benefit the tourism industry, we have to get our facts right, Madam Speaker. We either promoting tourism development and facilitating its expansion, or we are not. Disappointed in you, Honourable Member. Absolutely disappointed in you. Madam Speaker, in spite of what he said, we have 7 lots on the E.O. LeBlanc Highway and the Nicholas Liverpool Highway of 120 solar lights. 7 lots of 120. So I'm so sorry. We are modernizing Dominica, whether you are on board or not. Madam Speaker, an allocation of 5 million was made for river dredging. We all know the importance of river dredging to ensuring safety of life and property, so I don't even think I need to go into that anymore. Madam Speaker, I know my para-rep said he couldn't wait for me to talk. And I know he didn't, and I know he, I shouldn't tell people that. Madam Speaker, following my last contribution in the House, I wish to confirm that the Roseau North is getting its piece of the pie. Madam Speaker, if you see projects in that constituency, even a blind man can see. Madam Speaker, we will soon begin a program to eradicate pit latrines. And I'm sure the para-rep is aware, even if he didn't mention it in this Honourable House, $200,000, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in June 2017, work on the rehabilitation of Charles Avenue in Goodwill began. We know Charles Avenue is a primary artery to the Princess Margaret Hospital, and it's important for all of us in Dominica. Madam Speaker, that project is at a cost of 3.1 million and is expected to be completed by mid-November. And Madam Speaker, just in case the member for the Roseau North constituency is wondering, I did keep my promise to have people from Roseau North employed on that project. Madam Speaker, you should take a drive to that area to see how this one is progressing. I noticed the representative did not speak about it, so I'll speak about it. Madam Speaker, if you see work on Charles Avenue, I'm not sure I've seen another project on this island move so quickly. I've explained to the contractor that this is an important road leading to the National Hospital, and no effort should be spared to ensure that that project is delivered on time or before schedule, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, works on the rehabilitation of the Stock Farm Road has accelerated. Madam Speaker, the Public Works Corporation has a contract for that project, and that contract is worth $3.2 million. Madam Speaker, this morning, there were lovely pictures circulating showing the asphalting of a section of that road as work is progressing. I have personally asked the Chief Technical Officer in my ministry to personally look to that project to ensure that it is going well. Madam Speaker, I am looking out for Roseau North. Madam Speaker, like I said, if you see projects in that constituency, in one day, I got 2 different messages from 2 different people telling me how impressed they were with the number of projects going on in Roseau North. And people and persons will come in here and say that Roseau North is not getting anything. That's not proper English, but forgive me. Madam Speaker, listen to this one. This one is a special view for you, the honorable member of the Roseau North constituency. Another flagship project in the budget is a national multi-purpose sports complex. And as I have said in this honorable house, I am a proud member of Roseau North constituency. So imagine my disgust and irritation when I heard Senator Baptiste on July 6th, was it, say on a panel on Q95 that he didn't think that the State College or that project should be in the locations they are, and that it was poor planning. And Madam Speaker, he had the gall to repeat it again yesterday. But that is not what irked me, you know. You know what irked me even more? Was that my parep, who is supposed to be representing the interests of people in Roseau North, did not find a reason to defend the location of those projects, especially after your proud constituent said to the people of Roseau North, this is an opportunity. This is... I have one for him on planning, but I'm not ready for it yet, so kite sala. Leave that alone. If you know what's good for you and the member, leave that alone. Someone do? Kite sala do. Kite sala. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I took such time to excite the people of Roseau North about being a center for sports and education. And here it is that the parliamentary representative did not see it fit to represent these people and their interests and say to the honorable member, it happened already, but this is good for my constituency, and these are the benefits they can get. So, Madam Speaker, on behalf of the people of Roseau North, I am doing it. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I started to think back on my exchange with the honorable member for Roseau North. And Madam Speaker, I'm not trying to diss my parep, you know. My parep probably know me longer than any of all you in here. I grew up across the street from his aunt, so he probably know me little so. But Madam Speaker, when I realized he didn't respond, and he did not lend a voice for the people of Roseau North, I said, but wait, how this man representing people now? What kind of style of representation is that? So, Madam Speaker, I had to think. I remember that the day after I spoke the last time in the House, some people from Roseau North come and tell me they see the leader of the opposition park outside his house at 6 a.m.
a joke that, you don't listen to that, that's just gossip. So I think, let's move on. But then I heard that the entire hierarchy of the United Workers' Party came down on my parrot and put him to sit down and give him a good shake-up. Ask him how you could give Miriam the opportunity to inform everybody, especially Roseau North residents, of the tremendous work being undertaken by the Dominica Labour Party in that area. They asked him, what were you thinking? Introducing Miriam to every resident of Roseau North. They blamed him. They blamed him for what they termed a tactical error. And tell him, why you go and bother the lady the one day she eat pepper for lunch? And why give her that opportunity? So, Madam Speaker, you know what they tell him? Boy, just go and fix your thing. They send him back in Roseau North. Madam Speaker, I hear he even get lost in Tarish Pit. So long he haven't gone to Roseau North. Anyway, Madam Speaker, moving fast forward and very quickly, Madam Speaker, when he went back in the constituency, he realized Tupatu Labour Katwavai. Everywhere Labour is working. Ian, I need another, Honourable Member, I need another 5 minutes, please. I have to finish this one. Douglas, Ian, just give me 5 minutes.
10, you have another, it was 10 and then you got 15, that's 25. So you have 10 minutes left.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, that's good. Okay, Madam Speaker, everywhere he go, he realized that this Dominica Labour Party working. So, Madam Speaker, the next time he see me, you know what my power rep tell me?
10 and 15
You doing a good job, Miriam. You doing a good job. Let me tell you, Honourable Member for Roseau Central, you know what I did? I couldn't reach my car fast enough for me to write it down. I so didn't want to forget the words. I got endorsed by my parliamentary representative. I am proud of that. My parliamentary representative has realized he's walked away from all you and the untruths. He's distancing himself from that nonsense. He is now standing as a good Christian and calling a spade a spade. Congratulations to the Honourable Member. But, Madam Speaker, sometimes I was wondering, you know, with all of that going on, I wondered, was my parliamentary representative when he was gongading me the last time, was that taunting me? Sorry. I just
Taunting. Okay.
Taking
How
up
is
my
she doing?
time. So I corrected myself, taunting. You prefer that word, Parep? When he was taunting me the last time, I wondered whether that was a silent plea for help. Remember, he know me long time. Yeah. So he probably felt a little more comfortable coming to me and saying, girl, we can't do this, you know. This is too much for me. This constituency big. I can't get no impact there on my own. Your Labour Party people, all you need to help me out. He probably couldn't go to Bruce Vasquez and tell him that. So I think that was his subtle little way. I think that was his subtle little way of saying to me to help. And Madam Speaker, as the Honourable Prime Minister said at the Town Hall in Roseau North, this is a government for everyone. As you can tell of what's going on in Roseau North constituency. And Madam Speaker, that said, we will continue to take up the slack and represent the people of the Roseau North constituency. Parab, don't worry, we're looking after the people of Roseau North constituency. Madam Speaker, I'm just remembering something. A mutual friend of mine and the Honourable Member for the Roseau Central constituency called me after the last budget. Remember, I told the Honourable Member he should do what I do when I come, stay up and prepare my presentation and make sure it's on point. I remember he came for sterling performance the next day. Congratulations to him. But hear what he went and tell our mutual friend. Oh, I put Miriam on the spot. Tell her she should come with indicators. Madam Speaker, like him, before my appointment, my entire career was at the regional level. But I want to say to him, I have made the adjustment. I have made the adjustment to the practical world. I now understand that in my role as a senator and a minister in this Labour Party government, my interest is serving the people of Dominica. So let me tell you what my indicators are. You know what my indicators are now? How people live, the number of people impacted by the projects, if people are safe on the roads as a Minister of Public Works. I humbly suggest that you move away from your textbook as an elected parliamentary representative and rearrange your priorities, Honourable Member. But then again, what they say, Madam Speaker, you ain't hear the song? The song say, Robbie, Rosa is yours. I can't sing. Madam Speaker, before my time run out, I want to take the opportunity to thank the staff of the Ministry of Public Works and Ports. We have just ended a long and challenging period, and I want to thank them for their continued commitment as I look forward to that same commitment as we move forward. Madam Speaker, as I look at the new financial year, I proudly accept the challenge to implement such a large program and take this opportunity to thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his continued trust in me, while thanking all of my parliamentary colleagues for their usual support. With these few words, Madam Speaker, I give my full support to the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance and this year's creative and impactful budget. Thank you, Madam Speaker.